Hello, we got some mathematics today about elections. This math is actually kind of interesting. It's kind of cool. A little esoteric, so we're going to get right into it. Number of residents in our society, this is 25,000. This is based on the social contract. It's just a nice starting number. It would be a really nice town atmosphere, and especially with like awesome people from the internet. I think it would be like really an ideal number to kind of feel like a city, especially with creative people, and kind of still feel like a town. Anyway, the social contract has 25 politicians, all the councils and everything. These are data points that we want for each one, like news memes, right? Like a singular data point, like Hunter Biden emails. You know, that's a data point. And then that data point specifically would have several sub-points. Time spent on each data point. This is like learning. You're watching the news. This is incorporating that data into your mind. Time spent discussing the data point with other people. Like talking about it, right? Just those conversations you always have about the news cycle, which are so dreadful. I'm going to be real honest. They're kind of dreadful. Layers of fractal conversation distribution. This is how many times that conversation branches out fractally amongst the population. This is 4. It's just an estimate. It might be a little bit lower than that. The data point might be higher. This variable might be a little higher. This variable might be a little lower. Anyway, you add them all up with this nice formula right here. And I added 2 because it takes 2 people to have a conversation with each other. But I think I actually inputted these just randomly. I just threw these numbers together, and it turned out to be a cool, crisp 100,000. I was so happy about it. I was like, what? I did not expect that. But it's not as impressive when I looked into it, because 3 times 20 is 60, and then you have to convert to hours, 60, 60. This negates to 1, this negates to 1, and then 4 times 25 times 1,000. So it wasn't quite as impressive as I had originally thought. Anyway, you can convert this to man years, which is a fun figure. 571 man years. This is your accuracy or confusion with the data points and analysis and conversations. This muddles up everything and slows down the whole process. So you just invert that or whatever, do the inverse. You get 1,900 man years per election. Oh yeah, you have to multiply by this. No, this is per politician. This one is also multiplying by the number of politicians, and then dividing and converting into man years from hours. So we have this is from my other spreadsheet. This is the man years of labor to construct a full version 6. 8,300 man years. But for this tiny little, this is a smaller city as well, 25,000. And just this election is 1,900 man years. So if you do the math on that, now you have all of your variables required to do the conversion and formula on that. That means each election for this tiny town, you could construct X% of this town. So you could expand the town by 132% with the time that you've wasted bickering over who to elect out of these 25 politicians. And actually, now that I think about it, this is the people that win. These are the people that win the election. The actual people involved in the election can be much higher than 25. They could even be, this could even be like 75. Anyway, I'm going to play with the variables at the end of the video and see what the results are. So at $20 an hour, you have this 1,900 man years. At $20 an hour, that's $329 million per election, or $13,000 per resident of this city. Just to figure out who sits in these seats, when we could get rid of all of this nonsense and all this frustration and all these conversations, these 200,000 hours, and just leave it up to the monarch. because that's his job. That's what he does. So it's just terrible if you think about the redundancy and the inefficiency of it. It's really terrible. And the alternative is to just say, hey, how's the king doing? Oh, the king's doing great. Everything's fine. Okay. Anyway, moving on. It's right. It's like that's the end of it. That's the end of the conversation. Everyone's like, oh yeah, is any corruption? Or any corruption? You hear of any corruption? No, I haven't heard of any corruption. Everyone's following the social contract. Everything's fine. Oh, okay, that's cool. So anyway, what are you doing later? There's none of this. None of the whatever we're doing now with the news cycle in this election. None of that exists anymore. Never. It doesn't exist ever again. The only thing that would really exist is people showing up for the wing clipping, the vote of no confidence. If you know what, you might be confused about what the hell I'm talking about, but it's Article 14 with the full monarchism. Anyway, at this point, it's pretty much a different language for most people, but Article 14 would be the only real discussion about electoralism or anything close to electoralism or anything close to politics. The king would obviously make clear his intentions with the city design, artistic style, immigration and stuff. There would be a two-way conversation in that regard, but it wouldn't be this like weird, combative, massive conversation that like never really ends. So let's play with some numbers. This one was instead of politicians, it's going to be candidates. So let's say increase that by 3. Data points required for each one. That might be 3 as well. This might go down to 3, I would say, and maybe pump this up to 30. Oh no! Oh man, that's bad. Let's do 2. Let's do 2 for this. Okay, that's still not much better. Yeah, maybe let's do 50 for this. It still went from 13,000 to 17,000. These numbers might be a little more accurate. And you figure like children wouldn't count in here, so this might be 20K. But that doesn't change the dollars per resident because I'm not sure why actually. Everything probably cancels out in some weird way in the formula. I don't have time to really decode that right now. But anyway, still $350 million, so that went up 20 million. 178% expansion of the city using our wasted time on this election. And 2,000 man years. But yeah, this might be a little more accurate than the original numbers, than the original arrangement. And it's pretty concerning. Let's say we really get into that electoral process. We're super democratic, like really democratic, because this is a tight-knit community. This is it's a tight-knit community. Everyone talks a lot. There's gossip. You might do. What if you did 4, and then like 4 here, and then like 90 here? Oh God! Yeah, this is bad. You could expand your city by almost 10x. This is on the extreme end of the variables, but in theory, like if people were like hyper democratic, if you had a like really close knit, hyper democratic community, this is the upper end of what you might expect for just time and mental energy wasted on elections. And keep in mind with the social contract, this is every single year, $95,000 per person. Oh, $1.9 billion. Anyway, that's it. Thank you, and have a nice day. If you want to see a new and better world come to fruition, as I do, then like, share, and subscribe. You can find an incredible amount of math, knowledge, and 3D renders by clicking on the channel name. And remember, we need you to help spread this vision across the internet for all to see and become familiar with. Let us build this new world together.